life had consisted of a series of displacements, the beginning disrupted by colonization and war, the end by schizophrenia and near homelessness. Grace, your mother used to be a prostitute. What is she talking about? My skin turned hot, barely able to contain the feelings of confusion bubbling. Your mother used to be a prostitute. What is she talking about? Grace, my skin turned hot. Your mother used to be a prostitute. Barely able to contain the feelings of confusion. What is she talking about? My skin turned hot, barely able to contain the feelings of confusion bubbling beneath it. More importantly, it promised the glamour of America and the possibility of one day moving there by building a life with an American soldier. The chances of that actually happening were slim, but my mother and a million other women like her made a wager.
하루속에 이런 생활을 정산하고 올바른 결혼을 하시죠.
나 같은 게 무슨 결혼을 해요?
왜 당신같이 영리하고 좋은 분이 결혼을 못한단 말이에요?
동시씨? 그럼 나 결혼해 주시겠어요? 그거 보세요. 그렇게 얘기하시는 분부터가
That day I saw the two faces of America, the words of a war bride who remembered American food aid. I had heard of the Yankees and how they were here to save us. We were all hoping for rice or barley, and we drooled at the thought of so much food. But it was an endless supply of powdered milk that caused all who drank it to suffer for days with diarrhea. Mom, are you getting enough to eat? I asked. She nodded. What about protein? She nodded again, then snorted. They got me powdered milk. Oh yeah? I said, feigning surprise. She became quiet as if she had already lost her train of thought and was deep in some hallucinatory reverie. I can't stand the taste of it, she said. Tastes like war. It was only the second time she ever brought up the war without my prompting. Her words jolted me into a reverie of my own as fragments of research tumbled around in my head.
그럼 돈 벌어서 뭐래요? 미국 사람하고도 살 수 없고 우리 동족끼리도 살 수 없으니 우리 무슨 적석이요?
While the boys in my mother's family had been granted the privilege of going to high school and college, my mother learned early on that the role of girls was to serve men and make sacrifices for their families. And she did serve and sacrifice, but she also wanted something more. And if this something more was not going to be hers, she wanted to make sure it would be mine. It would take me a lifetime to figure this out, that my success could be her vindication, that my education could be her second chance. In the 1950s, these brothels would draw a new crop of girls from the countryside, girls who sought to support themselves or provide for their families in the aftermath of the Korean War. By the 1960s, the South Korean government would officially sponsor sexual services exclusively for U.S. military personnel. On January 7, 2009, the New York Times ran a story about a group of former sex workers breaking a decades-long silence about the South Korean government's role in setting up a sex trade for the Americans. Our government was one big pimp for the U.S. military, one of them said. I heard my mother's voice chanting as I read the article from the New York Times. January 7th, January 7th, January 7th. I had always thought it was in reference to my birthday, but then I wondered if the date was also her vision into the future, the voice of her solidarity with the plaintiffs. Though she never went a day without housing, her situation was precarious, moving from one temporary place to another, living with my brother or me when she didn't have a place of her own. The stories of people like my mother were written out of that history too. Her bravery went unacknowledged, and unlike my father's grandparents, she traveled alone.